Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Today we're trying to exploit a machine from HackTheBox. The name of the machine is Crafty. It's a Windows machine, and then the difficulty rating is easy. So at the end of our task, we're gonna learn about enumeration, and then we'll do some vulnerability research, and then we'll touch on some reversing, not so deep, but just we'll try to reverse an application, like reverse engineer an application by decompiling it. And then we'll also do a little bit about Windows exploitation. I think our previous videos mostly we've been working on Linux machines, so this is our chance to learn about how to exploit Windows systems. All right, and then to top it off, we also gonna do some Windows privilege escalation. So when we get the foothold, we're not gonna stop there. We're trying to get administrative privileges on the Windows machine. So our aim is to get two flags. So have our user flag, which we have to get, and then we'll get our root flag as well. So without much I say, let's hop into the machine. The machine is already started, and then it's running. So we have the IP address here as the target IP. So we can copy this IP address and start working with it. And also we can save this IP address in our host file so that we can access it easily. So to do that, let's open our host file, and okay, we need to authenticate. All right, so our host file is open. Then we put this IP address, and then we can try to refer to it as crafty.htb for HackTheBox. Then we can get this saved, and let's exit out of here. So what we need to do, my VPN is already open, so you can see my VPN on the first pane. It is connected. You need to connect to the HackTheBox environment to be able to access this machine. So our VPN is already set up, so we can just right away start scanning the machine. So we can start with an nmap scan, nmap-scv -on. So we want to save our scan output to a file called nmap. Let's call that file nmap. And then what else do we need to do? So for this machine, we have to do a full port scan. So if you don't specify P-P, it's going to scan the first 1,000 ports, but we want to scan all the ports. I think we have about 65,535 ports. So the P-P is going to scan all these ports. So we have a port, a high order port, which is not going to show up if we just do a simple port scan. All right, so we are specifying the P-P to get all the ports that are available. All right, and then we can try to speed it up, so we can specify minimum rate to be, let's say, 6,000, and we can put the IP address, or we can refer to it as a host name that we put in there. So we can say crafty.htb, and then I may also want to see some verbose output, so I'll put -v. So let's see. So our ports have started scanning, and then we can see our first port, which is port 80, HTTP port. So HTTP port is running on this particular target. And then we can see our second port as well. This is port 25565. So we have two ports that has come back, and then we can wait for all the results to come back, or we can start probing the web, or the web port, which is HTTP. Okay, so our scan is complete. So if we check our folder, we have our nmap scan results. So we can open this for easy viewing, and then let's see how it looks. So yeah, this is the nmap scan results. So the first port is port 80, and then if you look at the version, is running on a Microsoft server. and then we can see some other information, the title. So it's hosting a website, and the title of the site is Crafty, and we have this other information. And then when we come to the next port, which is port 25565, we can see a Minecraft. So the port is open and we see Minecraft, and then we can see the version of the Minecraft server which is running, which is 1.16.5. And then we can also see that this Minecraft server is actually running a Windows operating system. All right, so we can see, so this is very vital information we have to take note of. We'll come back to this. So first of all, let's try to go to the web port, that is the port 80, try to access that. Okay, so we say http, so we can just say crafty dot atp atb for hack the box. So here is what we have. So this is like a landing page for that particular site. So we have Crafty, we have forum. So let's see, when we select this, where these links lead us to, and then we can see a subdomain of our Crafty domain. So we can add this to our host file. So where is our host file? So we can add this here and see. So let's try to access that one as well and see what is in there. So okay, it's like it's the same. It's just like a mirror of the original Crafty. So you see that it redirects us back to crafty.atb. So it's the same. You don't really see anything here. Then when we follow the links, we have gaming, Crafty gaming, Crafty coming soon. Okay, yeah. So I think all the other links are pointing to the same um, direction. So they are all linking to the same file, so the same page. So let's see. Yeah, we don't have, actually we don't really have much information. We can view the page source and see if we can see anything. We don't, there's nothing here. All right, so we can close this. There's not much happening on the port 80. So we can go to the next port, which is the port. You can open all this in one. Okay, so port the port um, 25565. This is a Minecraft server port. If you want, we can look at that. We can look the port up. We can see what happens on that particular port. So you can see that that port is actually linked to a Minecraft server. It's always the default port that's the Minecraft server listed on. So nothing much here. We know is we are dealing with a Minecraft server. That should be fine. And then now we can look at the version to see if this particular version of the Minecraft server is vulnerable to any exploit. So we can Minecraft and then we look at that version. Okay, and we can add exploits. Yeah, so we can see that we have exploiting Minecraft server log4j. So this particular Minecraft server is vulnerable to is vulnerable, that particular version is vulnerable to um, log4shell exploits. Okay, we can see it here, log4shell. So log4j is actually a Java login library that most Java application use. So Minecraft is one of those applications that use the log4j login library. Okay, we also have applications like Elasticsearch and also Bloodhound. They all use log4j for their login. So when this vulnerability was actually discovered, all these other apps that use this particular library were all affected. It was really a big vulnerability, and then it led to which could lead to arbitrary code being run on the target system. So that was bad enough. All right, so that is about the vulnerability. So we'll try to see um, if we can exploit a particular vulnerability in the log4shell. So we can read around the log4shell, and then there was actually a POC, a proof of concept, for how to exploit that particular vulnerability. That is the log4shell vulnerability. So we can look for log4shell POC on GitHub. Let's see what we get. Okay, so this particular POC, this is the exploit. We can try to see if we can use this to also exploit our targets. All right, so what we do is let's clone this repository. So let's clone the repo, and let's clear up some space, and then we do git clone. All right, so we have log4shell, so we can go into that particular directory and see what files we have. So if we go in, we see the POC, or we can read the readme and see how we can use this particular exploit. All right, so the exploit is asking us to install this requirement. I think I have already done that. I have all the requirements, but if you don't, it's good to just do a pip install to install those requirements. All right, so ArcPass needed those packages, and then I think Colorama here. So we've got those packages installed, and then we can go and see how this particular POC is used. So with the POC, we need to set up a listener because we will be expecting a reverse shell. So we'll do that later. But this is the command. So the POC, and then user IP, localhost, web ports. So this is port 8000, and then local port, local web port, and then local port. Yeah, so I'll just copy this particular command. Let's try to keep some notes. So crafty note.txt. So I'm gonna keep my notes here. So all right, so let's say from our nmap scan we had this port 80, and then port 25565, I guess, for the Minecraft. All right, and then this is the command we have to run on the log4shell to get the exploit. All right, so okay, this is the readme. All right, so for this particular readme, I think we have further instructions. We'll need a particular version of JDK. So for this to work, the extracted Java archive has to be named. So we'll need a specific Java archive, or JDK. So this is the version that we are looking for. Um, okay, this is how the JDK folder has to be named, but there is a particular version of a development Java development kit that we need. So I think it's over here. We can find that information here. Getting the Java version. All right. So we need this particular version of Java. So JDK 8U20. So we can go here and try to download JDK. Let's put the version in there. So this one it will lead us to this particular page in Oracle. So in Oracle, so we can try to find that particular. Let's match the whole. All right. So it's here, so we can see JDK, and then we come to the Linux version. Let's see which version we download this version. So tar gz. So this is the version. This is the file that we need. All right, and we can go and try to download this file. So what happens is that with this you will need to sign up to or in Oracle to if you can create an account if you don't have an Oracle account. So I don't want to I want to skip this process, and because I've already downloaded the file. If you don't have the file, you have to create an account. So I think I have it in my download folder. So let's clear this. Let me check my downloads. Okay, so I have it here. All right, so I'll just copy it into my directory. So I'll copy this, and then I have it in my directory. When I list, I can see it, and then is a tar zip file. So we can say tar xvf and then jdk. So we are decompressing. All right, so the file our file has been decompressed to this. So this is what we have now, but from the exploits we were told to give it a particular name. If not, our exploit is not going to work. So the extracted Java archive has to be named. So this is the name you have to give the extracted Java file. So we can copy this. So you see that it's JDK 8. So let's see what's different. I think that's how it is named. JDK 1.8.0 underscore 20. JDK 1.8.0 underscore 20. Okay, so we don't need to even rename it anyway. So it's already in the proper name format. All right, and then the next thing we need is that, so we have a Minecraft server. We need a Minecraft client so that we can send commands to the Minecraft server, because what this exploit does is going to give us a particular code. It will send us this code, and then we have to actually run this code on the Minecraft clients. So how do we do that? So we have several Minecraft clients on the web. So there's a GUI version, which is I think is called T Launcher. Yeah, this is a very good Minecraft client. If you want, you don't have an account, you can just spin this off. It's like a mod, and then you can be able to play, connect to Minecraft servers to play Minecraft. All right, but when I tried with this T launcher, it worked actually, but it was consuming a lot of resources like memory. I think it consumed about 3 gig of memory, and I don't need that. So there's also another version which is a command line version. So I'll just type for Minecraft clients. Let's see. Um, there was a particular version. Okay, so let's say Minecraft command line. So we want a command line. Okay, so I think this is what I was looking for. So this is MCC. This is a very good command line client for Minecraft. So we can come to the releases. Let's go to releases and then see what we can download. Let's download a Linux version. So I'll grab this version. So let's copy, and then we can download it with wget. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we will go outside of our log4 shell, our log4j shell. So I'm just going back into the Crafty folder, and then I can now download it in there. All right. So I have our we have our Minecraft client, but the name looks very long. I just want to rename it. So let's move Minecraft to MCC. So we just want to call it MCC. So if we check, it's now been renamed to MCC. And now we have to make it executable. So we change the mod to executable. So now we have it as executable. If we list, we can see that our file is now executable. All right. So we have our Minecraft, and then I think now is we are getting ready to run our exploit. We have most of the things in place. Let's delete this. Get an error. All right. Okay. So I think we can start to run our POC. Let's see. This is how our POC is going to look like. So it's going to be Python train. So we'll just substitute our, so instead of the local host, is going to be the host that we are going to grab our reverse shell on. So we can check that. So if you do IPA and then you grab for your tan0, you should be able to see your VPN IP address. So this is our local IP address we have to use to grab our reverse shell. So we can leave the web port as it is, and then we can leave the L port to the port that we're going to listen on. You can leave it as 9001. It's fine. If you want, you can change it actually. All right, and then what else? I think that should be it. And if we do that, yeah, and if you run this, then it has given us a payload to send to our Minecraft client. So now we need to start our Minecraft client. So you do MCC, and then you can check for help, like how you can use this particular. Okay, so that is invalid. So I think we need to specify the whole thing. All right, so this is how we use this particular Minecraft client. So you put username, password, and then the Minecraft server you want to connect to. All right, so we just say MCC. So username, I'll just say test, and then password. I don't have a password to connect to that particular Minecraft server, so you can use a null password. So you put it null, and then the server is going to be our server. So our Minecraft server, where we have it here. So this is our Minecraft server, the IP address here. And then before you run it, you can actually run it. Okay, let's, before I run it, let me try to start up a listener. All right, so I'll use RL wrap, okay, and then NC LVMP, and then um our L port, our listening port, so it had to be the same port here. So you can start. So we've started our listener, we are listening. So we can go back to our Minecraft client and then start it. So it's asking for a password because we didn't put in a password. You just press enter and it's been able to connect to our Minecraft server. So it's joined successfully. So we can send commands to it. So this is the command that we're going to send. So we just say send, and then we send this command. If everything is successful, we should be able to get a reverse shell. All right. Okay. Good. So I think there's a problem here, which is very good. It's good that we discovered this problem together. So the POC, it needs to be modified. Okay. Um, if we look, we go into our log for shell. If we list the files, so let's open the POC. So this POC was written for a Linux machine, so we need to make this change. So our executable is not supposed to be a shell, a bin bash or bin shell. It's supposed to be a CMD or PowerShell. All right. So this is done, and then now we can go back and then run the POC again. Let's see what we get. All right, and we got this. So let's go back and then try to send again. All right, so now we have our shell. Good. We have been able to get our shell. So if we do who am I? So this is the user. So it's SVC Minecraft. So it's a service account running the Minecraft. So we can put this in our note. So we've been able to, and then I think at the top, let's say flags. We're trying to grab flags. So user flag and then root flag. So when we get a user flag, we put it here, and then our root flag, we put it in the root. So the user flag, let's see where we can get the user flag. So mostly the flags are always stored in desktop. So let's see how we can get to the desktop. We can cd. So desktop, if you always go to type user profile, it's an environment variable. Desktop, this should always take you to desktop. Let's see, yeah, it's taking us to desktop. If we do dir, you can see, and then let's see if we can clear screen. We can clear screen here, so you can see our user flag is here. So we can type. If you say type, so this is a Windows machine, so if you say type, it should be able to display the content of our user flag. So we have our user flag. So we are done with user. All right, so now we have to try to get to root or administrator. All right, to be able to access the administrator file. So if you do net user, you see the users on the system. So we have administrator, Jacob, default account, guest account. So we are targeting this particular administrator account. All right, so what we need to do is let's go back to where we were before we came to the desktop. I think this was the directory that's, no, not this. This is the directory that we landed in first. So let's go back in there So we go back cd into the server directory. If we dir, we see a plugins folder. All right, so this particular plugins folder, let's go into the plugins and see what plugins we have. Dir, so we have player counter snapshot.jar. So this is a jar file, a Java application that has stored credentials. So what we need to do is to be able to decompile this and see what we can see and check what we can see. All right, so some credentials are stored in this, but how do we exfiltrate this particular file? Because we don't have any decompiler in this particular Windows system. We have to transfer this file onto our machine. So what we need to do, um, we can try to set up an SMB server with in-packet SMB server, and then SMB2 support. Our SMB server have to support SMB2, and then our share name, so we can just call it Crafty. We can call our share name Crafty, and then what else? We can specify username as test, and then password as test. Okay, so I think this should be it. Let's see. And then another thing we need to do is, this is going to be our share name, but we have to also specify our share folder, or yeah, the folder that we want to share. So we can, to specify our current directory, you can use pwd here. So you can specify it complete. You can copy this and paste it here, but if you expand this, it's going to give you pwd. All right, so this should be it, I think so. All right, so our SMB server is up and running. Then we can come back to our how do you call it, our Windows, our server, that is the Minecraft server that we've just gotten foothold. All right, so now we need to connect our SMB server from a Kali machine onto our Windows machine so that we can copy files between them. All right, so we use net use, and then we want to map the folder X, or a drive X, to um, our want to map this drive to our Kali machine. All right, and then the name of the share was Crafty. So Crafty, and then we need to specify the credentials. So the user was test, and then the password was also test. Yeah, so username was test, password test. So let's see. All right, so we've been able to connect them. All right, we are able to connect the two. So when we check, when we dir x, let's see if we can see the files in our server. All right, so you can see that all these files are files. If we do dir or ll, you see that all these files okay. Okay, yeah, so this files are in the Crafty and then the log for shell. All right, this is nmap. Um, let's see. Yeah. So I think we entered into this particular folder. So let's say ls log for shell. Yeah, all right. So we're supposed to map the crafty, but we actually went and mapped the log for shell folder. So that's fine. So it means whatever we are, but we also we can go back and actually try to. It's fine. So what we need is just this particular file. So let's go back and let's see. Yeah. So we have this file that we want to copy. So let's say copy this file to X. All right. Okay. So I thought I'm still in Linux. So in Windows, it's not CP, it's copy. All right. So the file has been copied, and we can come back to our Kali machine, and the file is copied to the log for shell folder. All right. So if we go into that particular folder and then we list, we can see that the file is here. All right. So the file has been copied to our this folder. So what we can do is we can move it. All right. So we can move it player. We can move it to the folder before, and then we can move back. So we see that our file is now here. So I want it here. All right. So that's fine. And then now what we can do is to try to see if we can decompile this particular Java file. So let's see what application we can use. So we just search for decompile Java file. Let's see. All right, so I think this is a Java decompiler, and then this GUI. This is a very good decompiler. So we can just use the jar file. Yeah, I think this should work. Let's copy the link and then we can download wget. All right. So where do we have it? Um, yeah, it's here. So it's here, JD So we can actually start this particular application. It's a Java file. So java.jar, java-jar, and then JD. So this should start the Java application. All right. And then we can browse to our player counter file and see. So here we go. We have it here, and then I suspect the source code, the main source code should be here. So this is the class, and then we can see that it's trying to connect to the local host on this port, and then with this particular credential. So this is the password. So this is the admin password that you are looking for. So we can say administrator password. Yeah, so this is our admin password. So now that we have our administrator password, we have to find a way to log in as an administrator on the system. So what we can do is we have a normal runners. So we are our current user is SVC Minecraft. So if we check again, who am I? We are SVC Minecraft. So we have runners. You can use runners to run as another user, but in this case, we need a credential. Runner doesn't have that capability to specify or input credentials when we want to run as another user. So we have to look for another application. So let's say how do you call it? Let's search and see if we can find something on the net. So we'll say runners. We'll look for runners with password. All right. So we runners with password. So if you come here to Robotronics, there is this particular application run as SPC. So this particular application can actually allow you. So you see runners, so you can specify the program you want to run, and then the user, and then the password. So this particular program should be able to allow us to specify a user and then the password. So that's very good. So let's see where we can download it. Where do we download? Okay, runners. So this is the overview. Looking for a download link. Okay, so we have a download link here. So it's like a zip. It's a zip file. So we copy this zip file, and then we go back to our file and go back to our terminal. Let's close this Java application, and then we mapped our SMB server. We mapped our log for our log for shell folder. So let's go back in there and then download it and download the file here. So wget our runners SPC. So we'll put it in here. So let's see. So it's here. So we have to unzip it. Unzip runners. Okay. And then when we list, so let's ls runners. Let's see what we have. So we go into this 64 bits folder. 64 bits. Let's see what we have again. All right. So we have runners spc.exe. All right, so that's fine. So this is the actual file that we want. So what we will do now is to try and copy it. So we copy this particular file into our log4shell folder, because this is the folder that we are sharing. All right, this is the folder that we can access on our Windows machine. That's why I'm copying it in here. So if we do dir or ls, let's do ls instead. If we do ls, we can see that our file is here. All right, so we can go back to our Windows machine, and then we can try to copy from the Windows to from our Linux, from our Kali to our Windows. All right, but we don't have if you try to copy it in this particular plugin folder, it will fail because we don't have a permission. So what we can do is we can make there, we can make a directory on our C folder and call it temp if we don't already have. So let's go back to our C folder. Let's go to our C folder and see what we have. dir. Okay, so we don't have temp here, so we can make a directory and we call the directory temp. All right, if we do dir, now we have temp. So this is our directory. We can go into temp and do, let's see, so temp, if we do dir, we don't have anything in here. So now we can copy from our share, and then the name of the application, what we want to copy is, so we copy it into our current folder. Yeah, so our file is copied. All right, so if we do dir again, you see it over here. If you don't want this noise, you can do dir/b. All right, so we have our file here. So now we can run this file. So we just say run as. We can run this file, and okay, so what we need to do, okay, I think we still have some more stuff. So let me close this. All right, so what we need actually to do is to create a payload with MSF Venom. So MSF Venom, and then we'll create a Windows payload, Windows, and then shell reverse TCP. I think this is a payload name, and then we say lhost, localhost is our address here, and then lport is going to be our the port that we're going to listen to on. So we can say 777 37s, and then the format or the file type, we want an executable, and then we want to save it or output the file into something like crafty.exe. Let's see if this works. All right, so I think our there's a problem, so maybe we need to put equal sign here. Okay, lhost, lport. Let's see. So whilst we are trying to verify if our payload is in the right format, yeah, so I think it created a payload. So yeah, so let's go back, let's close this, we don't need this anymore. Then we can start our MSF console in a quiet mode. Let's see, so let's go back and see if our payload is created. Yeah, so our payload is here. We can check it, we can check the file if it's a Windows portable executable. So yeah, so PE32, so this is a portable executable Windows file, so that's fine. So now we have to set up another listener on our Metasploit framework. So we say use payloads, and then we use the Windows shell shell reverse TCP. So this is the payload that we used. Let's clear this. So we need to set options for this particular payload. Let's look at the options which are already there. Options. So the L port, we need to change the L port. So set L port to 777, which is what we use in our MSF Venom payload. And then we set our L host to our IP 10.10.14.3, I guess. We can check what it is. Let me see. IPA grep turn 0. Yeah, this is the IP, just 3. So that is correct. So that's our L host. All right. So if we look at options again, we see that we have them set properly. All right, then we just say exploit, and then it's going to wait for a connection. All right, so we started the TCP handler. So now what we need to do is to make sure that we get our file onto our temp folder. So this particular payload that we created. So what we do is, let's see. So I'll just copy Crafty into log for shell. All right, and then I come down. Then what do? I can copy again. Copy from X, and then it's crafty.exe to this particular folder here. So it's copied. All right, if we do dir, we can see that our Crafty is here. So because our handler has started, if our payload is correct and works properly, we should be able to get a reverse shell. So let's try to run it, crafty.exe, and it's supposed to be able to run. Okay, so yeah, so what we are supposed to do is we have to use the runners. So let's say runners. So we have to run as an administrator. All right, so program. So the program is Crafty. So the program is going to be our payload, crafty.exe, and then the user is administrator, and then password is going to be the administrator password that we saved here. All right, and let's see. All right, so we can see that a session has been opened. So we have a session open. We can go back to that particular window and see what we got. So if we do sessions, we see that we have one session, so we can connect to that particular session. The session, we can interact with it with I, and then one. All right, so we have our session, so we've connected to our session. So now if we do who am I again, we can see that we are now an administrator. All right, so we have gained privilege as admin. Okay, so now we have to look for our administrator flag. So we can cd into user profile and then desktop. I think our flag is going to be on the desktop. If we do dir, we can see the root flag. All right, so we can do type root.txt, and then we have our root flag. So that's it. That should be the end of the machine. Yeah, it's an easy level machine, but we've learned a lot: pivoting, reverse engineering, so many things. Okay, so let's try to see if we can put in if our flags are correct. All right, So that was correct. So user flag is correct. So rating, I will say easy. Okay, let's say it was easy. Submit rating. Okay, so we got our user flag. So let's go to our root and see if our root flag is also correct. So root. All right, so they want us to rate. All right, so yeah, this. So not too easy. So I'll just say medium because we had to do a lot of reversing. So that's it. That's the end of the video. The machine has been done. All right. So just one more thing, one piece of just want to show one more thing. I was using user profile. Why did I use user profile? It's an environment variable. You can check if you check echo user profile. You see that user profile is saved as C users administrator. So whatever the logged in user, it will go into the users folder and then the username. So that's the shortcut to get to this particular route. All right, so thank you so much for watching and see you again in another video.